Also, we learned about dependency injection. So what is dependency injection? If one class needs the another class, then that class can be injected. That is called injection.
No, dependency injection is a way to manage the dependency of a class.
Yes.
You should not say if one class is inheriting another one. No, this is not the way to explain. You should tell dependency injection is a way to manage a class dependency. So what are the different ways to implement the dependency injection?
One is constructor, using constructor. Another one is set property. Third one is
So we having three types of dependency injection: constructor injection,
method injection.
property or set injection, method injection.
Okay.
Okay, so which one to use?
We used the constructor injection yesterday.
Yesterday we construct injection. So what is the difference between constructor injection, property injection?
We use constructor to inject. First difference is that, and the first property injection, we the dependency injection being done through the property.
What is the main difference? If you look at the constructor injection, every time if you are changing the dependency, you need to create the new object.
New object, yes. But that doesn't happen in case of property injection.
In property injection, we can change the dependency without creating a new object. So there is a state sharing in property injection. But in constructor one, there is no state sharing. Got it?
Yes.
And when to use method injection?
For injection, when we call those just forward.
When to use method injection? When we having a method which we call rarely, and that method having a specific dependency. So in that case, instead of passing the dependency through constructor, through the property, whenever you will call that method, that time dependency we will pass. So this is the method injection use case. Is it clear?
Can you please say again method injection?
Whenever you having a method inside a class, and that method you call rarely, not frequently, and that method having a specific dependency. So in that case, whenever you will call that method, that time we pass the dependency. The next one, please.
We registered dependency injection in configure service.
Hmm.
Which is a built-in container. Configure service, which is also known as a built-in container in ASP.NET Core.
What are the built-in container service?
Service service has single tone, scope, and transient.
Okay, so what is singleton? Who will tell
Just the
about
service.
these methods? Hold on, Vindeshwari, thank you for sharing your learning with us. So please do clap for Vindeshwari. Who will tell about the ASP.NET Core service methods? Oh yeah, tell me.
Hello.
Tell me.
So there are mainly three ASP.NET built-in container service method. One is singleton, scope, another one is transient. So if we are taking like parameters, like instance, then singleton is one request for one for all requests. In case of scope, it is one for each request, and in case of transient, every time we create a new request. Then if we are taking parameter like behavior, then it is stateful. In case of singleton, it is stateful, and in case of scope, it is also stateful for one request. But in case of transient, it is stateless for a request.
So what do you mean by the stateful here?
Stateful means statement means stateful means for each request we have to for one method we have to create one request. One
No, stateful means is here. If let's say you are using multiple instances of the same class, or you can say of the same service, so all the instances will share the same object. That is stateful. So there is no separate object for each instance. Object behind the scene is same. So that's why it is stateful. But there is a new object for each instance, it is stateless. Got it? So when it is coming to the dependency injection one, so stateful means multiple instances are sharing the one object, are using the one object. That's why it is stateful.
Actually,
Thank you. Please do clap for Spandana as well. Pardon?
Spandana, sir. Spandana.
Spandana Ray.
Yes, sir.
Okay. For the Spandana Ray, please do clap. The next one, please. Who will share his or her learning? Shiva, are you there? Siva, can you share your learning, please?
Actually, I have created some the web API small application. How to consume, how to create the web API. Previously, I have shown you the employee details. I have created only that once. Can I share my code?
Can you share first your learning, then I will look at what you did.
In actually web API, this is the RESTful. It's a RESTful architecture. Web API is based on model view controller features. That can API support the using Swagger and Postman. You can check. You can check the web API through Postman or Swagger.
With the Postman?
Postman and Swagger, two things. Web API actually have some types. One is the specific type, which stands for the data, and IAction result, which contain the data and the HTTP codes. And the action result is specific type and action IAction results also.
So everyone, we have everything we have covered, I think. You now can share, Siva, your screen, what you did. So what do you want to show here? Siva, can you tell me for what you did here? Because the similar thing we already did in case of entity framework class as well.
Actually, I have created the web API for that. I have created this API control base class. You can just enable the return. Same things I have created in web API. I have created in controller class. I have created in this web API controller class. Just like this.
Okay, that's fine. If you have tried your end, it's very good. You tried to call the function from your end.
This procedure using the procedures.
Procedure you tried, that same thing I'm saying. Okay, let's proceed to the as per the plan. So yesterday we created the web API. So make sure you have opened the same project over there. So this is my day 7. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to copy the same thing into my day 8. So day 8, I'm putting here for Web API. So I'm just changing the name to as Web API. Internally also I'm changing it to Web API and open it. So I hope everyone has opened the yesterday project. And guys, nobody told me about the unit testing. Who will cover the unit testing part? Ritika,
Yes.
what is unit testing?
Unit testing, is the basic testing that we do for every method, whether it is giving the correct output in all scenarios or not. We had done the same thing, creating a unit test project in our last class, in which first we did a sample function of calculator, and then we tried to unit test our both the controllers for create as well as for view, to check if we are giving the wrong input in case of product, whether it is throwing an error or not.
So who did unit testing? So who do unit testing?
Yes, the developer should do the unit testing.
Okay. So the thing is, if you're willing to check out the fitness or behavior of your class or like your method, whichever you have written, so we write the unit test cases for that class, for that method, and check the expected behavior. And the person who actually wrote the code for that method, for that class, that is responsible for writing the unit test cases also. And these are also similar to the technical document for the developers, because by looking at the unit test cases, they can understand the workflow, they can understand what is happening inside that method, inside that class. So they are very helpful. So what are the benefit you will get if you are writing the unit test cases? Can you tell me about the benefits? Anyone?
It will be easy to identify the errors in the program. It will also help us to develop faster, because we'll get more time in development rather than bug fixing.
No, the thing is, the reason behind of reducing the development time is you actually well know about the workflow. Because the issue with the developer team happens, they don't know the complete workflow. They just know what I'm doing. I just wrote a method. So their understanding is limited to that method. They don't know how the input will come and how the output will go. So that workflow picture is clear. The people who are involved in that one, so that help us to identify the bug fixing, to identify the issues which might raise when the code will go to the production one. Because usually what happens, the developers already know that bugs inside the code, but they intentionally commit the code to the server. Then from the testing team, then they get the bugs. So better way is here, why not to identify all the things at development time, so that we will have the very less number of bugs from the testing team over there. And the most important benefit is here in maintenance, because in the maintenance, what happens if we were not involved from the starting of the project? So what do we do in the maintenance phase? A similar code we start replicating, because we having a fear if I will change the existing method, so it might break. We are not sure about what will happen. But if you're having the unit test cases, so by running the unit test cases, you can understand that method behavior and identify what are the new changes can be done into the existing code to fix this issue, or let's say to fix this new case. So in that perspective, unit testing will help you. But there is no doubt unit testing is time taking process, not the case. Let's say we are giving 1 day to the development, or only 1 hour, 2 hour, you can do that testing. Sometime the testing take the 3 day, let's say more than the development time, because you need to figure out whether everything is working fine or not. So it is a time taking process as well. So almost it takes the same time as the development time takes, and sometime more than that also. Is it clear?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let's proceed here as per the plan. So today we are going to see the other features of the ASP.NET Core Web API. So other features are here. We having the, first of all, let's understand the HTTP methods. So yesterday, if you will see what the code we have written and the code label, we just use some methods. So we are using here get method, post method, put method, delete method. So actually, which one to use in which case? So when it is coming to the get method, it is recommended to use whenever you are retrieving the data or resource from the server. Then we having the head method as well. Sometimes the people prefer to use the head method. So in the head method, we only get the response status code. We didn't get any response body. So to me, there is no data can be get in case of head method. Head method is about, it's about only to figure out whether the API responding or not. If the API will respond to us, it will return the status code as 200. If API is not responding to us, it return the status code at say 404 or 500 or something else. So get is so head is similar to get. The difference is in head we don't have the body of the response. The third one we having here post verb. So post verb is used to send data to the server whenever you are willing to create a new resource, or whenever you are willing to create a new record. So that time we use the post method. In simple, to perform the insert operation, we prefer the post method. Then we having a put method that is used to send the data to server to update or replace the existing resource. So if you're willing to do the modification to an existing record, there we prefer the put method. We having the patch method as well, that is look like similar to the put one, but there is a difference between put and patch. The difference is here in the put method, we pass the complete object, which is going to be modified. So this is my object, let's say containing multiple fields. So this complete object will send to the server. But in case of patch, we never send the complete object, only the changed value we pass to server. So patch is about the partial update or partial modification. Put is about the complete update of the object. So this is about the put and patch, where both are used for doing the modification. We use delete method if you're willing to delete the resource at the specified URI, like what are the resource we have. If you're willing to delete, then we use a delete verb over there. And we having a one more concept that is idempotent. So if you're looking at here, get, had, put, and delete are the idempotent method, because they always generate the similar result, maximum time. But sometime put is not idempotent, it might create the different result. Okay. So post is not idempotent, even sometimes put is not idempotent. But in the maximum case, you will find out these methods are idempotent. Idempotence means every time when you are requesting them, you are getting the same behavior of the request. So that is idempotent. So do you have any query regarding these HTTP protocol verbs or method? Because it is very, very important to understand when you are dealing with the REST APIs. Is it clear? Good to go ahead. Okay, if you don't have any query now, let's understand the parameter binding. So parameter binding is a process to extract the data from the request body and map to the action label receiving parameter. So if you're looking at, these are the parameters we having at the action label. So when I will call this method, obviously I will send the data into my request. It can be request URL, it can be request body. So who is responsible for extracting the data and mapping into these two action label parameters? So here responsible is here parameter binding. So parameter binding is a mechanism that is similar to the model binding we have in ASP.NET MVC. And if you're looking at the parameter binding rules, so these are the parameter binding rules we have. So when you're making the GET request, in case of GET request, data by default can map to the primitive type or complex type. So what are primitive type here? What are the complex type? If you're looking at IDs here, primitive type, because it is having a simple data type, integer, it can be string, decimal, like any other data type. If it is a class type like product, user, category, that is a complex type. So if you are making the GET request, here we are making the GET request. So in the GET request, data can map to the primitive type at the action label and the complex type at the action label. But if you are making the post request, so data can map to the primitive type only from the request URI. So the thing is here, in case of post request also, we can send the data as a URL, as a query string. So primitive type will map to the request URL data, and the complex type by default map to the request body. So these are the default rules it follow, but these default rules can be override when you're receiving the data at the API level. And it is very important to understand, sometimes we didn't get the data, we get the always null value. So you need to understand how the parameter binding rules are working. If you're not aware of, so you might putting so much time over there. So these rules are very important. And starting from the post till patch, it is same. The query string data, let's say URL data, by default map to the primitive type here, and the request body data by default map to the complex type. This is the rule. And when it is coming to the get and the delete, so get and delete always read the data from the request URI, because they cannot read the data from the request body. So these are the default binding rules we having, you should know. And if you're willing to change this default binding rule, so these can also be changed by using an attribute, let's say from body, from form, from query. So this way I can change it like this way. If you want to read the ID from the body, I can mention here from body. But in get, I cannot read anything from the body because it's a get request. In the get request, you can read the data from query, from the root. This is only possible. are like valid attribute over there. But when it is coming to the post, so by default, it is reading from the body. But if you want to change it from body to, let's say, query, I can mention here from query. So now it will read this product model from the query. So this way, the default parameter binding rules we can override using the from body, from query, from root methods. These are again very important to understand. Is it clear? So guys, good to go ahead. This is about the parameter binding, which I told you here. And I'm not changing here these default root because I don't need actually them. I'm fine with the default rule, but it is following, but sometime it is required. So that time it is important to know how the rules are working. In maximum case, the default one, in maximum case, the default rule fine with you. Sometimes only you need to override. As I said, when I'm making the post request, I'm not sending the data into the request body. I'm sending the data in the request URL. So how the request URL data you can read? You can read it only using the from query. Otherwise, you will not able to read it. Okay. So when you're making the post request, but data you're now sending the request body, you're sending the data in the request URL. And that data you need to retrieve here. So that time you need to use from query. Is it clear?
Yes.
Now the next thing we having here, content negotiation. As we do the negotiation, when we go for the shopping and when we purchase something, similarly, client can negotiate with the API. And negotiation can be done whether the client need the data in JSON format, in XML format, like any other format. So for that one, the client send a format. A client send a header, and which format the client need the data. So we having a accept header. So using the accept header, we do the negotiation of the data. If in the accept header, we will pass the value as application slash JSON, it will return the data in JSON format. If I will send it in application slash XML, it will send the data in XML format. So by default, ASP.NET Core Web API support the JSON format. You don't need to define it explicitly. But to add the support for XML, we need to add these methods. So XML serialization is not by default supported here. So open the startup class. Now let me change this services.add controllers to add the support for XML serialization as well. So I added the support for XML serialization as well, so that I can return the same thing from this API. Now the same method can able to return the JSON data and XML data simply. So I shared through the chat. So guys, please do the change in your web API startup class, what the method I shared with you, so that it will able to return the data in other in XML formats as well. So guys, shall we go ahead now? Okay, now run the application. Just run your WebAP only. I'm running my WebAP only. So this is my startup page. Just set as a startup project. I'm setting the web API as a startup project. This way. Now, let me copy this URL. From the Postman, I will call it here. I'm opening the Postman to make a call. So this is my Postman and I'm mentioning it this way. And it is, let's say, API / product. Make the GET request. And you will feel I'm getting here data in my JSON format. But if let's say you are willing to change it, you can change it by changing the headers. So as a header, you can use here, let's say, a subheader. A subheader then would be here application / XML. I'm putting here application / XML, make the GET request. And you can see I'm start getting the data in XML format as well. So this is the content negotiation. Have you completed this content negotiation part? Are you getting the same data as I'm getting here?
Why I'm not getting any result through Postman?
Make sure you're using the proper GET request.
Get request, I have choose get request and pass the URL. SSL error, unable to verify the pass certificate. I'm getting this error.
Okay, so make sure you have disabled the SSL certificate setting in your Postman label. At the Postman label, we having the option.
Okay.
So there's a Postman setting you need to change setting. Then make sure you have disabled the SSL certificate verification. Otherwise, you will get the error.
Where
So
is the setting icon? Where is the
this
setting
one,
icon?
this one.
No, in the screen. Where
At the
is
top level right hand side, this is the setting icon.
Okay.
So make sure SSL certificate verification you have disabled.
Yes. Now coming.
So what about others?
Can I share my screen?
Mhm.
Yes.
So what URL you are requesting?
Yes.
Why you're requesting Swagger? Do you think I'm requesting Swagger? I'm requesting /API /product. So getting data.
Yes,
Hello.
I'm doing mistake here. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
So I am having 4.NET response.
Can you speak loudly, please?
Actually, I am having 400. That means the response is 4.NET.
Hmm. Are you able to get the same URL from the Swagger?
Yeah, I copied from there.
Like you're saying the requested URL is invalid.
But I
Can you
copied
show me in the
from,
Postman?
yeah, this is my actually, this is my URL.
Hmm. Can
But
you
this is the Postman.
can you show me in the Swagger UI? It is working fine or not?
Yes.
Call first one API/product. Execute. Click on the execute button. Is it your project is running? Can you check?
Yes, I get this response. So I
Can
will
you copy
copy.
this URL? And put here.
Mm, 400. HTTP 400.
Can you see your setting? I think there is an issue with your setting of the Postman. I'm sure.
And this is the setting in this one. I disable the enable SSL certification.
Have you saved the setting? I think setting didn't save.
Yeah, I will not save that.
Can you reopen your Postman?
Okay.
Close it and reopen. And guys, one more information I'm willing to tell you. On this Friday, means tomorrow, I will give you the assessment. Got it? And everyone has to complete the assessment as a part of the evaluating this training program. So make sure everyone is preparing the things, whatever we have done so far, because on Friday, I will take your test. So there will be some objective type question and there would be hands-on thing as well. Guys, what about others? Are you able to complete the things what we have done here?
So when I am trying this, actually it is taking time to open. Once it is open, I will use.
Everyone, can you confirm from your end? I hope everyone has completed the content negotiation part.
What do we need to change in the headers for XML serialization?
Yeah, in header, make sure you are mentioning the accept. Accept header value you are setting application slash JSON. Then only you'll be able to get the data in XML format.
Accept application slash XML.
So how many people are getting the data now in XML format? Can you confirm? Even guys, if you're having this issue, you can try from the Postman. You can try the same thing from Swagger as well. Don't worry. In the Swagger, when you will click on the try it out, so we having the option in application/XML here. From here also, you can change the media type as XML and can the data in XML format. Don't worry. If Postman is not working, and the Swagger UI also, we having the same option. You can see. So from the Swagger UI also, same thing can be tried. From here, you can see the people who are having the issue. So
the controller, the API names, as we can see, all the APIs are having the same name, the controllers. We are not getting the /accent names. I think
the thing is, at the routing label, we have defined the routing this way, API/controller name. And we are finding the appropriate action based upon the verb. So here we are making the get verb. Here we are making the get verb with the parameter. Here we are making the post request, put request with an ID, delete request with an ID. So verb and URL is coming into the picture to find out the appropriate action name. If you want to define action name here also, you can define action name here also. There is no issue. You can define like this way. Then you need to mention the action name also after changing the routing here.
okay. Thank you.
Hello.
Hmm.
Sir, I'm having same issue.
So sir, I said use the Swagger only for testing it. Don't worry.
Okay.
In Swagger also we having the this thing.
Okay.
So the people who are facing the issue from the Postman, so use the Swagger. This is the Swagger, and they have been the media type. Just do mention here applications/XML and try it out. That's it. So this one need to select and try it out and then execute. You will get the data in XML format like this way. Is it clear?
In Postman, in which part you have set the accept value?
Header.
Can I go to the Postman?
Make sure you having the header here and you sending this.
No, this accept row is not coming.
You need to type it.
Type it. Okay.
So Indra, if you want to call the web API from controller and we want to change the response type.
Same thing I'm just going to show you. Hold on. Let me finish this PPT thing, then I will show you the way how we can consume in MVC. The second thing we having here, how we can specify a format explicitly, or we can force an action to return the data in a specific format only. So in that case, you can use here the produces attribute. So we having a produces attribute if I'm willing to force to return the data only in a particular format. So I can use here produces. And here you can mention the format. Let's say application/JSON. So here now I'm forcing to this get products method to return the data only in JSON format. Now it cannot return the data in XML format because explicitly I applied the produces attribute. So this is the way how we can force to return data only in JSON format this way. This thing we having here, simply. Okay, now let's see here how we can consume this web API in our MVC application. So MVC application we already having here. I need to just add a one more controller to consume my web API. So let's come here. So what I'm doing here in my MVC application, guys, make sure you are following to me. Just right click here and add a controller. And here I'm just going to add a controller with the name catalog controller. So this is my MVC controller empty. I'm clicking on the add button. Then define your controller as catalog controller, catalog controller, this way. So I'm adding here a catalog controller. So make sure now you are inside your MVC application and do click at controllers folder. And from there, add a catalog controller simply. This way I'm adding the catalog controller. And now do click on the add button simply. So have you added the catalog controller inside your web app project? Guys, can you confirm it now?
Is it web API controller or normal controller?
It's a MVC controller. So guys, shall we go ahead now? I hope everyone has created the catalog controller. Okay, very good. Now open the app settings.json file, and here I'm adding a key. I'm adding a key API address. And for API address, let copy your API address which you having in your Postman or which you having in your Swagger. I'm just going to put it like this way, and it is /API this way. So make sure everyone has added a key in the web app with the name API address. Now I'm just going to use the same API address in my catalog controller to access my API. So this is my controller. I'm using here I configuration. This one, it is, let's say, config. I'm adding the namespace. Now do inject it like this way, config equal to config. This way. And now for making the HTTP request, we have been get HTTP client, and just do one thing. It should be here underscore. I'm using here, and here also I'm using. So this is my underscore client. So this is HTTP client we have now, and let me use here base address as well. So URI, and it would be here base address. So base address I can access here using base address, new URI, using the config. I can get my base address as a config. I'm getting here this API address. This is my API address, which I'm getting it simply. Now let me define here the client equal to new HTTP client, and just do set the client dot base address equal to that base address we having over there. And we can change the data type. We can change the access modifier here to private. So this is the way we are just reading the configuration base address client. Now here I can make the get request for reading the API. So get method I will use here. So I will get here where response equal to, and I'm just using here client dot get request. Then I'm having here client dot base address. Then add which API you are willing to call. I'm willing to call the API name is product this way. And guys, here if you're looking at here, we having two options. Either use here synchronous request. Let me first complete the same sample with synchronous request. Then I will change it to the asynchronous one. Response dot success code. Then get the data. So we having here is string data equal to response dot content, then read a string async, then result. Now if you're looking at what our API returning, our API returning the list of product. So this is my list of product, so that I need to deserialize. So I'm just using here the list of product like this way. So this is my list of product. So this is my list of product. Now get the model. This is model here. So model equal to, it would be here JSON serializer. JSON serializer, then deserialize it. This is my JSON serializer and deserialize the object into the product list like this way. Then do pass data and finally return the model over there. So this is a syntax we having here to read the data for an API action. So if you want to use this one, let me share the complete code. I shared the complete code, you can copy and use it. And do let me know when you will complete it.
Chandra, what is HTTP client here? What is the role of HTTP client?
HTTP client is a way to call the REST API.
Again?
HTTP client is a way
Yes.
to call the REST API.
Okay. It contains the method which will be useful for calling the methods web API.
This is the same syntax we have in .NET for calling any REST API. So when it is coming to the REST API, we
Yes.
always use this syntax.
Okay. So another doubt, in app setting we are adding a key. Okay. So without a constructor injection, can we call the a key? Can we access the key
Without
value?
constructor injection, we cannot access it.
Okay. So like in .NET, if we are adding a value in app setting, then we are directly writing configuration manager dot app setting. In same way, can we write here?
Which one?
Like in .NET web form,
Hmm.
in config we are defining the app setting, a key
Okay,
and value.
this code you need.
No, this code I already have. I just want to know how to call without constructor injection. Is it not possible, right?
Now, without constructor injection, you cannot call it because somehow we need to read the app setting.json. How we can read it? We can read it only using this I configuration. This is the only way we can read it. Or you can do one thing. You can create a static class. In the static class, you can do the injection. There is static class, you can use it and use it.
Anyway, we have to do the injection.
In that case, in a static class, you have to do the injection. So guys, are you getting the same output? So good to go ahead. Guys, can you confirm from your end? Okay, that's fine. Let's get started to proceed it. So I have not added so far the view. Let me do right click here. I'm just clicking on add view. Then we having here razor views option over there. This is the razor view I'm adding here. View name is index template. We having here, let's say, the list one model class. We having here, let's say product. So make sure when you're creating the view, same way you are using the model class, you're using here the product class. Even I can get here, let's say the product model as well. It's up to you. If you're not willing to use product del, you can go ahead with product models as well, like this product model. This one also. So I'm using here product model. Now do click on that button. Okay, if you have completed now, so make sure we are removing the category ID from here. From here also category ID I'm removing. And for edit, let's say you're mentioning the ID, then item dot product ID. And here also I'm using item dot product ID. And make sure we having here on click and return confirm and Are you sure to delete? This I'm putting it. So I just change it like this way, simply. But if you have changed like this way, so make sure here also you have changed it from product to product model. Product model. Otherwise it will not work it. So here also make sure you have changed product to product model and run the code now. So this index code I just changed from product to product model. So this is the one I shared through the chat. And make sure you're running the API as well as project. So this is the option here, properties. And this time running the multiple startup project. So I'm running the API and I'm running the web app. Two things we are running, API and web app. So at the solution label, you need to do right click and make sure you have selected the multiple startup project this way and run the code to check out how it is working.
Share the index page.
Index page code you can generate easily. It's auto generated code.
What you have just what modified you can share.
Okay, I shared the complete code from there. You can copy. So guys, shall we go ahead now? So run the code to check out how it is working. So this data is we are getting from the older code. So make sure it is here. Let's say catalog 1. And I'm getting the things like this way. Are you getting the same UI? Even for navigation, we can add at shared page. This is my underscore shared. Let me add the navigation here for catalog. Index. And we having for products also. This is my product we are having. Now reload the things to check out how it is working. So go to the catalog and you will get the output like this way. How many people are getting the things like this way?
Yes, same screen as right.
To start these multiple startup projects, just do right click here at the solution label, go to the properties and set multiple startup project. Simply. So I set here web API and web app both as a startup project.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Sulandar, actually, while doing scaffolding, I am getting some error. Can I share my screen?
Let me fix this error first, then I will look at what is happening. So guys, if you're getting the same output as I'm getting, just do one setting which I didn't, which we have not done so far. Open your web API. And actually web API by default return the data by following the camel case. But in C# we are following the Pascal case. So just do one thing. There is option available. It add controller. Let me add a method here, add JSON options. And just change the JSON option. And there disable the camel case. Options dot JSON serialization option. Then we having the property naming policy. Then make it null. This way I can make it null simply. So this is the policy which I'm using to make it null. Now run the code. Code I shared with you completely, which you need to mention in your web API so that it start working. So we having to catalog, and now you can see I'm getting the data here properly. If you will see, I'm getting a product ID, product name, product description. Category I'm not getting because I have no written the category name that I will change. Then I will start getting the category name also. So I hope now you're getting the proper data in the list as we mentioned over there. Now who is having the issue?
Sulandar, I am having an issue.
Why you added this database connection string 2 times? One time is required. You're repeating the same thing 2 times. So one delete.
Okay, in catalog, I want to.
No, second one. Why don't select first one? Don't mention a context. Don't mention anything.
So that time I was selected contestants. Thank you. Actually, last time I was selected the contest case also. That's why there was some problem.
Now it has been created. So what is the issue?
And then okay. That time there was. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else having the same issue? So guys, make sure now you are getting the things properly. Are you getting it?
I have no error, but data is not coming in catalog view page.
Can you share your screen? Make sure you're running both the project. I think you are not running your API. Can you verify? Properties of the solution. Okay, you're running. Have you
Yes.
put the breakpoint? Catalog controller. In catalog controller, put the breakpoint here. See what it is saying. But you are getting response.
Not found.
Can you check your client base address? Base address. Make sure it is same 44390. Can you check your API address? What it is?
Yes, 44390 is coming.
No, it's not API. It's a web app. I need the API address. API address is different.
Where it is mentioned?
In properties. Property folder. There is a property folder. Go inside there. Sir, there is a property folder. You don't need to go anywhere. Loan setting. Phone number is a 44370.
This one.
Change in app setting.json. Not here in web app. Now restart the application. Guys, what about others? Are you getting the same output as I'm getting here? So make sure everyone is getting the same output. That is success. Proceed further.
Yes.
So I'm assuming everyone has completed.
No, I'm also not getting data. So sharing my screen.
Hmm.
Which one? Change the port.
In the pod, you mentioned API, / API. Guys, what about others?
Yes, no.
I hope everyone is now getting the data without any issue. Yes, Iba, share your screen. Siba, can you share your screen? Hmm. Can you show me the app setting.json file? Sir, if you're getting the any error, so please debug the code and try to figure out what thing you are missing. Visual Studio are having a very good debugging capability. So do we have person who has not completed this one? I think everyone has completed. Siva, can you open your app setting.json file? App settings.json. So your port number is 44333. Can you check with your API? In API, there is a properties folder. Then loan settings. Loan settings are not, it's a loan settings and properties folder. What it is same. Four 44373. So make sure it is same there also. Is it same?
No different.
Sir, why you changing the port over here?
What different?
So this port you need to copy and put in the API address. It's not API address, sir. It's a loan setting of the web app. Open the app setting in the web app project. Open the app setting file in the web app. Open the app setting inside the web app. Go inside the web app project. Go inside the web app project. Web app and app setting.json. Now here make sure port number is same. 443. I think 73 is the port. I think this is the web app port.
443
73. Don't change this one. Save it. Save it. Do change the port number here. Now save the application and run the code. What about others? Have we completed this one? Make sure port number you are using of your API, not of your web application. Now I'm assuming everyone has completed, isn't it? Okay.
So I have one doubt. If we will build application and we'll move to production, then is there anything need to be modified in launch setting?
Loan setting never published to the server.
Okay.
What are the port number you will use over there to hosting that application that you need to put in app setting.json.
There is no role of a launch setting in production.
Yeah, there is no role.
Okay.
Loan setting only limited to the development environment.
Okay.
So guys, here we have done with the listing part, and here I used the synchronous style of calling the API. But this one can be changed into the asynchronous one. If you want to change, just follow to me. I'm just commenting this code and changing it to the in asynchronous one. I'm removing the result. I'm putting here a wait. Here also I'm removing the result. I'm putting here a wait. Then I'm just using here async and task based. Convert this method to task based. Now you can use here asynchronous programming with the help of async and await method. Now this is a asynchronous request, note the synchronous one. After completing the code like this way. Code I shared through the chat window, you can copy and use it. I don't need to change in the UI. UI would be same. Only the changes we have done and the code level over here. So good to go ahead now. So now the similar way I can write the code for create one also. So I'm just adding here a method where I will use create one. I action result. And this one we having for create return view, and it is for create. Define create post method http post. Then we having here product model. So product, I'm using a product model simply. Just do right click here and here add view. It is the same code we already written. If you want to copy from the existing one, you can copy from the existing one as well. So better way is here, as we had it the create view in my product controller in the product folder before, just add it here. That's it. I just copied from my previous code and put it in here. So now what I need here to create, I need to return here the list of category. So I need to just get here the list of category here. So it would be here category list. I'm writing a method get categories, and this time I'm just going to get here category. I'm going to call the category 1, and everywhere do replace with category, and it is here return model category, and I enumerable category. And if you're willing to make it async, I can use here async. Other you can use a simple one also, but I'm showing you here the async style this way. Finally, let's use here view back dot categories equal to get categories this way. Here also I will have the get categories, and let me check if model state dot is valid, then add the things for adding the product. For adding the product, what I need to do here, if you will look at here, when we are reading, we are going to deserialize it. This is the deserialization. Same way, when you will pass to the server, I need to serialize it. So let me serialize the data into the JSON format. A string str data, use a JSON serializer, then serialize the object here. Then I'm using here a string content. It is here content equal to new string content. What is my content? It is str data. Then we having the encoding. Encoding we have as encoding, we are using a system dot text UTF-8. Media type would be here application slash JSON is my media type. Then I will have a response, make the post request here. So I can use here async and task based. This one. So I'm using here client dot post async, then pass the data. It would be here client dot base address. What API are calling? I'm calling the API here for product, and make sure you're sending the data as well. I'm sending my content as a data. And if everything is fine, so this code should be inside this. Then do check if response dot success status code, then redirect to the action index the action over there. So make sure you have completed these 3 methods. So let me share these one by one. I shared the code. Please use it and do let me know. Guys, have you completed this one? So good to go ahead now. Okay, very good. So now let's run the code and check out how it is working. So this is my catalog one. Click at create new. Oh, so there is a one mistake is here. It is expecting the category list, but we passed here categories. So make sure you have changed it from categories to category list. So now code is fine. One thing we are missing in the web API label, you need to add a controller for category also. So guys, have you completed this one also? Because in my case, it is category list. Now open the web API one. In the web API one, make sure you adding a controller, API controller, in fact, over there with the name category. So I'm adding API controller for category. This is the one I'm adding API controller for category. And it will have the same code as we having for product this way. Same code I'm writing as we having for product. Add the missing namespace and use here category model, use here category repo, and get categories. So this way, make sure you added your category controller also in your API so that it will start working over there without any issue. Now run the code to figure out whether it is working fine or not. So go to catalog, click on create. So now it is saying category ID and name. So let me check out what it is returning. So this is my catalog controller. I'm putting here reload. What it is saying. Oh, API slash, there is a spelling mistake. So this is the spelling mistake category. So make sure you fix the spelling mistake in case of category name. It happens sometimes. Now it is for catalog and create new. It's coming here. Okay, perfect. So model we are getting here, category ID and name. So category ID and name we are getting here now, and now let's see what it is expecting. Category list. So just do one thing. It is actually creating the issue because of asynchronous one. So async and await. Now it will not give any error. Catalog and create. It's populating now. So I'm sharing the code again, what changes I did, so that we can also do here. Somehow there was an issue. How we calling? So please replace the create, get, and get category method with this new code. So they start working. Let me add a new one here. I'm adding Azure. So Azure training, I'm adding like this way. So, okay. Now let me check out here whether I'm making the post request. Okay, I got it. So one thing, if you remember, we remove model state, then remove what remove? I'm removing the product ID. This remove error. And here, let's say you're using the weight. So in the post one, also make sure these changes you have done. Catalog one, create Azure training and Azure. It's added. So this is for create post method. So create post method code I also shared with you. So please again change the things over there and do let us know.
What are the changes you have done?
Code I shared already through the chat. And guys, please do let me know when you will start getting the same output. How many people are getting it?
control ଆମର ଫାଷ୍ଟ ହଉଛି ଆମେ କଣ ଯୋଉ ଇଣ୍ଡେକ୍ସ ଟା ପକେଇବା ଇଣ୍ଡେକ୍ସ ଟା କ୍ରିଏଟ
Can you say again? So how many people are getting this output?
Can you see your product catalog controller? Catalog controller. Shalendra, can you share show your catalog controller?
This code I already shared.
Please just share the screen.
Complete code.
No, just show the screen, the controller. Just go to the top side, top, scroll top. Can you share this the product async index method only?
Are you getting the same output, guys? Siva Mohan create.cshtml is your older file, which you need to copy from product folder and put it here.
Go.
So guys, shall we go ahead now? I hope everyone is getting the same output. I'm right. Okay, now let's complete the code for edit also, if you have completed it. Shall we go ahead now to proceed to edit? Okay, let's have a tea break. After the tea break, we will complete the edit and delete also. Is it fine? Okay, now let me complete the code for edit also. So for edit, it would be the similar code. So let me copy this create one. And here I'm using the edit integer ID. Add it here also. And use create. The screen I already shared. Now let me get here the product based upon the ID. So this is
But
the
it is
way
not visible.
I can get the product. How many people cannot see my screen? Guys, can you see my screen here?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Can you check your end, please?
Yes.
This is my product one. This is product. Okay, now I'm getting here the product based upon the product ID. And let me use here product only. And finally return the model. This way I'm returning the model here. So this one we did for product. And here it would be here put async pass product ID model dot product ID. So this is we having here for edit. A similar way I will write the code for my delete also. Code I shared through the chat. I can copy. So this is my delete. For delete, we don't need to mention anything. Let me use delete async. If everything is fine, redirect to the action. Action would be here index. This way. So this is my action. Redirect to action index. Now let's run the code to check out how it is working. So this is my catalog. I'm just going to edit it. It's coming ASP.NET Core 5. Save it has been updated. Delete it. It gets deleted. So entire code is working fine here. Expect the expectation. So we have completed the CRUD operation using the ASP.NET Core Web API. So I hope you're also getting the same thing, same behavior.
So delete method is by default post.
No, delete is not post. It is delete. It is get. It will be get request. If you're talking to the MVC, in MVC it is get request.
If we want to make it post, we can mention the attribute.
Hmm.
Can you please show the API controller of the product? Hello?
API control of the product. This one.
Yes.
So guys, are you getting the same output? Shall we go ahead now? Shall we go ahead now? So I hope now you having the way how we can perform the CRUD operation on the ASP.NET Core Web API. So do you have any query regarding this one? Are good to go ahead? Now the next thing is here, if you're looking for versioning, how the versioning we can implement in Web API. So for versioning, we having here these option, like first option here, use the URL to create the versioning. Second option is here, use the query string to create the versioning. And first two are the commonly used when it is coming to versioning in Web API. These two are the commonly used method for versioning. But if you don't want to use the URL and query string, you can use here the request header style as well, where you can pass version number in the request header. You can pass in the subheader as well. So these are the things which you can use to implement the versioning in ASP.NET Core Web API simply this way. So let's see how we can implement the versioning in our ASP.NET Core Web API. So first one is a URL based. So the URL base, what you can do here, you can add one more controller. Guys, make sure you are following to me. Add a Web API empty controller over there. So I'm adding here the API controller. The name is product V1 controller. Let's say V2 controller. I'm adding my controller name as product V2 controller. Product V2 controller, we added here. And for versioning, what I'm doing here, I'm just defining, let's say V2 this way. Because if you're looking at this picture, we having API / V2, then user. Same thing I'm mentioning here. I'm putting here V2 as a hard code. Now for the product controller, let me copy the first section and put it here. Now just replace all the missing namespaces this way. So now it is become the V2 version 2 of the API. Similarly, we can add version 3 as well. And API version we always create whenever we are willing to provide the backward compatibility to the older client. If you look at in the real life as well, you might be using the Google API for the login, Facebook API for the login. So they keep releasing the new version of the API. So with each new version, they update something in terms of providing the detail, in terms of receiving the parameters. And if somebody using the older version of Google API and the Facebook API, so that code will also run, and the new client which are going to use that code also will run over there. So in that case, we having the concept of versioning. Same thing I'm doing here. Here, the code obviously should not be same. It should return more detail, or you can say it can return more fields when you're returning the product information. So in that case, versioning comes into the picture. If it is returning the same content, there is no meaning to define the versioning. Got it? So if you want to test the versioning one, just start only Web API. I'm just showing only versioning test. Start your Web API project only and see how the versioning will work over there. So now we having a product version v2, and this is the URL we having. It's a new URL now. In our case, it is returning the same data, but you can see URL is looking like this way. V2 product v2. Let me fix it one more time. In case of having the product v2, it should be only product. So change it as product, so that's not make any difference in the URL. So I did here hard code as v2 controller. So it should be here. You can see v2 product. It is API product only. It is API v2 product. It's up to you whether putting the v2 before the product or after the product. It's your style of generating the URL. So you can see I'm getting the data. This is the way this URL I'm requesting. API / v2 / product. Similarly, you will have v3 product, v4 product, and keep creating the versioning. So this is the URL based versioning we having here. So what about others? So good to go ahead now. I hope you are getting the same output. Is it fine? Okay. The second one we have been here, the query string one. So instead of defining a separate controller, or what we can do here, we can define the versioning at the same action level as well by passing a parameter. So let's see how I can do it. Let's say this is my product controller, and we can receive here a parameter, let's say integer API, let's say version, this way. And here I can the condition, even I can define a default value as well. Let's say default value is here 1. If version equal to 1, then do this one. This is for default version. This is for, let's say, version 2. So this code should be same to do, but I'm keeping it as it is same so that at least we able to run the code. So this time what I'm doing here, I'm just passing the version number in the URL itself inside my product controller. So this is my things here. Now run the things to check out how it is working. Run the API. So this says my API, and default value you can see it's getting here 1. But if you want to change it, you can change it here, execute 2. So this time what is happening, I'm passing the version number in the URL. Product version 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is also the way you can do the versioning of your ASP.NET Core Web API by passing the version number in the URL. It can be a short name as well. Let's say V1, V2, V equal to 1, V equal to 2, V equal to 3, like this way. So it's up to you how you're going to access it. But this is the way how the versioning we can implement using the query string. So these two we use commonly to implement the versioning. That's fine. Versioning part we have done at the API level. So now do you have any query regarding this one? So good to go ahead. Are you learning now advanced concept, or these are the basic one? And tell me, some people said we want to learn the advanced concept. Tell me.
Surendra, can you just call the API using Sucker?
So this is the one. Try it out. Note,
Yes.
I'm not calling this one. Actually, I need to call this one. Here we having the default value 1. If you want to change it, you can change it. Let's say 2 and execute. It's working fine with this URL.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
This one working for me, but last one like edit and delete, that was not working. It's error.
What error you are getting? In my case, it is working fine.
Yes.
Have you tried to debug the code?
Yes, it shows that create index is not there, but I'm checking it is there.
Can you share your screen?
Yes.
You are accessing wrong. It is your API. At API level, we don't have the view. You need to run your web
Now
app. At the web app level, you will have the catalog. And make sure you're running both the project, web app as well as web API.
yes, I'm running there.
So open the web app one, not the web API one. Run now the application. Have you added the create view?
Yes.
Show me the catalog folder. Catalog folder in web app. Inside the view. Views. Go to the views. Catalog. Where is crate? Copy the crate file from the product and put it here.
In this index only.
Crate. You have to copy the crate and put inside the catalog folder.
Or I will go with this. Create user.
Index you already having. You need to just copy the crate file from the product folder and paste inside the catalog folder. That's it. Even I did the same thing.
Product folder. Create this one.
Copy this file. Now run the code.
No need to change anything.
No. And guys, whenever you are doing the hands-on, make sure you are understanding the error properly. If error is coming, create file is not there, you should check out whether we having the create file at that location or not. That's simple. Tapan, Devi Prasad, Ritika, Jyotiven, have you completed?
Yes, complete.
Santosh, Siva, Saurabh, Sumender, Shabra.
Sarendra, can you see why category name is not coming in the list? Then in your screen it's not coming.
Make sure you added the category API controller inside the web API. Do you have category API controller? And make sure your name is correct in your product controller. Can you open the product controller? You scroll down. Not here. In web app catalog controller, go. Web app. So there was a spelling mistake. Category E was missing. Line number 73. Even the same thing I fixed also.
Yes, I skipped.
So what are the mistake I'm doing? Same mistake you are doing. So if I'm correcting
I
them and I
forgot.
shared the code, always I share the code after fixing it. Not is coming. So I hope guys, everyone has completed. If you have completed, let's proceed to the next option.
Oh, web
Make
presence
sure
on.
you have the delete action. Have you added a delete action? In your catalog controller, make sure you having the delete action. Can you scroll down?
No, edit only. Not delete.
So that's why it's not working. So copy the delete from the chat window and fix it. So good to go ahead now.
Yes, yes.
Okay, now the thing is, someone asked me how we can use the API gateway. So if you're willing to use here the API gateway, so in .NET, the most popular API gateway is here Ocelot. So we having the Ocelot. It's not actually real life Ocelot. Okay, this is the one. So we having the Ocelot API gateway that you can use for exposing your APIs. So when it is coming to the API gateway, it is a part of the microservices. In microservices, mainly we use the API gateway. But you asked here, so I'm just telling you. So this is the way how the API gateway is coming into the picture. So what are the backend services you are having? So those backend services we can expose through the API gateway. And for the API gateway, these options are available: Ocelot, Nginx, Azure API management, and the AWS API management. So one of the API gateway you can use for building your API. So let's see how we can use this Ocelot API gateway. That is free and open source one. So this one I'm just going to use it. So for the Ocelot API gateway, we need to add here a new project. I'm adding a new project here with ASP.NET Web API or Web App. That's I'm using here ASP.NET Core Web API 1 as a new project I'm adding. Define the project name as API Gateway. I'm using here, I'm adding the project name as API Gateway. Go ahead as it is. So we added the API Gateway. Now let me remove the extra code. Weather forecast and weather controller. And from the startup class, let's remove everything. We don't need anything actually here. Let's make it empty. So make your startup class methods empty because we don't need anything over here at the API Gateway level. So have you added a project with the name API Gateway?
It's a MVC core project, right?
Any project you can add. I added the API one.
We will delete all the controllers also.
Can you say again?
We will delete all the controllers also.
So good to go ahead now.
So what is the project type we have to add? Project type.
Let's say API, it's API. I hope everyone added the WebP project. I'm right. Okay, so now just go to the dependencies. We having the manage NuGet packages. So inside manage NuGet packages, we having the option for oscillate one. So look for the oscillate. So we'll find out here the oscillate. So this is the API gateway, you need to install it. This way. So make sure everyone has installed the oscillate API gateway.
Will I have to remove all codes from configure and configure service method?
From the configure service method, remove it.
And from configure?
Just empty the configure services method and configure method. So guys, have you completed this one? So shall we go ahead now? So make sure you have downloaded the oscillate one as well. Okay, now just add here a JSON file. Just do right click and add a new item. As a new item, just adding here a JSON file. So that JSON file you can find out in this script section this way. Define my file name as anything. Let's say oscillate.json is my file name. I'm adding in my API gateway project. So in your API gateway project, make sure you have added now oscillot.json file. Add it. Don't put anything, it's empty one. And if you're looking at the documentation one, they just shown the way how we can configure it. We need to add here mainly 2 sections, routes and global configuration that I'm putting here. So as a route, it would be here API/product. This is the one we having here. Let's say anything. Port number is HTTPS. Host is here local host, in our case local host. What is the port number for my API gateway? My API gateway port number is here 44356. This is a port number. And how you're going to expose? I'm going to expose here using the product and anything. What method you're going to allow? I'm going to allow here post, put, and delete. So these methods we are going to allow. And what is the base URL? This is the base URL. And what is my API address? It is 44333. This one. This is my IP address. So we have defined a routes array. Inside this array, we defined first route. The one route we defined for the product. How we will access the product API? So product API we access like this way. This is the actual URL. So anything is here for routing, which can take any parameter you will pass. So that's why we mention here anything. It is a syntax of the Oscillot API gateway. What is the protocol you are using? I'm using a protocol HTTPS. Your host, local host. When you will host to the production, that host need to mention over there. Port number. Then how you're exposing. So I'm exposing here with this name, product. And there's a parameter here. And what HTTP protocol method you're going to allow? I'm going to allow here get, post, put, and delete method over there. And this is the global configuration for my API gateway. So my API gateway is running on this port numbers that I mentioned over there. That's it. This is the setting you need to do here for oscillot.json. Add their oscillot.json file and put this code. And when you will complete, please do let me know.
What is downstream and upstream?
Down here, from where you will download the content. Downstream is the syntax where we mentioning the backend API. This is my backend API setting. This is my how you will expose from the API gateway. Just always remember this picture. So this is my downstream and this is my upstream. So downstream is your backend API and upstream is how you're exposing to the outer world. Because API gateway at the API gateway level, we are not doing anything. We just defining a common interface. Through that, we are accessing the multiple backend API. So instead of exposing a separate URI for each API, we now exposing a unified endpoint for all the APIs. Now behind the scene, it's the API gateway responsibility to call them and exposing the data to the front end simply. Is it clear?
Yes.
So now are you learning the advanced things? So good to go ahead now.
Which one should be the best URL here?
Base URL is not here. We mentioning the host, we mentioning the port, and from here we are mentioning complete URL.
Like last one, the best URL, localhost, port number. So this is whose port number is this? Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
I'm talking about the last line, best URL.
Base URL is the port number which you have to copy from the API gateway one. This API gateway on setting. Here need to copy.
The API one. No, this is the API gateway.
Yeah, this is the API gateway.
Yes, I got it.
The global configuration base URL, it will be copied from launch setting JSON.
No, only the port number I just copied here and putting here. Only port number you have to change at your level.
And the base URL localhost port number 44356.
This port number and this port number, these two things need to change as per your machine.
Yes. I'm not getting you.
Sir, I'm saying you need to just change port number, this port number and this port number.
This port number, port.
This is the API port and this is my API gateway port.
Okay.
So this is available at the web API launch setting and this is available at the API gateway launch setting. So guys, shall we go ahead now? Have we completed this one? Okay. Now we still remaining with the setting of Ocelot API gateway. Open your program.cs file. And here we need to add this setting. Configure app configuration. This is the one. And you need to put it here. Like after this, add this one. And this is only for adding the JSON file. This one only. Add this method need to add over there. So in your API gateway program.cs file, this setting need to add. Then open the startup class. In a startup class, you need to add services. Services dot add Ocelot. Add Ocelot. Add the missing namespace. And in configure, just add app dot use Ocelot. This way. So these two things need to add here. In a startup, change the setting, and in program.cs file also change the setting. So code for both files I shared with you. So in program.cs file, make sure you added this section, and in a startup.cs file, make sure you added add Ocelot and use Ocelot. And when you will complete, please do let me know. If you have completed now, just do one thing. Now start your API gateway as well. Just go to the solution properties.
You said the complete code of the program that says that where we have to add that one configure app configuration. Please show that program that says that.
This is the method only need to replace. I'm sharing the complete method code. Now just go to the solution properties and now start the API gateway as well and web API as well and web app as well. Now start it. And guys, if you're willing to access your API now from the web app, so now change your API address also. In the app setting, just change this API address value to your API gateway one. So what is my API gateway one? My API gateway one is 44356. I just changed this port number in my web app. So that it start accessing the things now from the API gateway, not from the web API directly. Run the code now. So this is my web UI API. This is my API gateway. Now let me test first at the API gateway label. It should be here, product.
The API will be the API.
What you're saying?
We will put the.
So I'm getting the data here, but the thing which I need to change it here, this anything one. So this anything actually creating the issue. So remove this one if I'm willing to access from there. Now it will start working. If you're looking for the different option for routing, from here you can look at and you can decide what you are willing to use over there simply. So now this is my API one, which I need to access using only product. It's coming the data. This is my API, this is my web app. From the web app, I'm trying to access it. So the web app label, make sure this is the one. Okay. The one thing is remove the API here because now we don't have the API. This is the only change you need to do here. The API one also need to remove. So there was an issue with the relative path. Okay, I have removed the relative path as well. Now, what is the issue? Let me reload. Okay, I think I added there one extra slash. So missing part is here. Remove the slash also here. Now run it. Now it will work fine. Catalog. Okay. Actually, now to fix it, you need to remove the slash, this one. Biggest slash we are getting here by default. So that thing is creating the issue over there. If you're willing to call it from the API gateway, you need to remove the slash. I'm getting the data now properly this way. So what is happening if I'm looking at this picture, this is our API, and this API we exposing to API gateway, and from the API gateway I'm accessing it. So this is the way how the flow is happening. So this is my web app. This is my web app. Using that I'm calling the API through the API gateway.
So Sohendra, what is the difference here? We can directly call also the API without using API gateway. So what is the advantage of using the API gateway?
The advantage you will find out, it is mainly helpful when you're building the microservices. Because think about you having a website where you having the 500 microservices. So 500 endpoint are not possible to expose to the UI. Those are difficult to maintain as well. So better way is instead of exposing the 500 endpoint, we just exposing a one endpoint to the UI. Behind the scene, we are taking care of what API running, what are not running over there. This is the one thing. In routing, it is helping you. Second thing is to implement the authentication, I don't need to write the code at each service level. I can create a separate authentication service. That service would be responsible for authenticity. So authentication task, I can complete my API gateway level only. I don't need to check the authenticity at separate API level. So this pattern actually really helpful when you are building your microservices. If you're not building the microservices, you're having your only one API, it's not making sense to use the API gateway. So in our case, it is not really helpful. It is only helpful when you are having the multiple APIs, multiple microservices. There it will help you, otherwise it will not help you. Anything else?
No.
So guys, remember this pattern is only helpful when you're having the so many microservices. Otherwise, it's not helpful, it's useless. So I'm commenting this code. If you want to try, you can use here for API gateway. Only one code I corrected here, others I have not corrected. Others also need to correct if you want to test it. And don't use it unnecessarily if you're not following the microservices architecture. If you're following the microservice architecture, then follow it. Otherwise, don't use it. So anything else?
In which section you have commented?
Actually, what are the change I did here for calling my API gateway? I just commented that one.
Catalog controller.
Yeah, catalog one. And this one also I'm putting as it is. I made the code as it is, as it was before, after testing my API gateway. So directly from the Postman also you can call the API gateway. You don't need to use it at the UI level. Using the Postman, you can make the request to the API gateway and you can test it. There is no need to create the UI, but I just shown the way of UI also, so that it's a clear picture. And mainly,
Yeah, one more question actually. So as of you said, there is 500 microservices if we are built on, and from the oscillation, what need to be changed to add on the only port number or anything else, or the base URLs also?
it defined for each microservice separate route. Host also would be different. And there actually, when it is coming to these number of microservices, we use containers there, Docker and Kubernetes. So when it is coming to the Netflix and then Twitter and the Facebook, they having more than 500 microservices behind the scene. So Netflix, Twitter, and the Facebook are using containers-based deployment for running their application, for running their microservices.
Okay. As you have written the downstream path template is API/product. If I have maybe 4 or 5 controllers, so I can write that API/controller.
Right. So anything else?
No, I am not receiving any data.
Make sure you are debugging the things and finding out the missing part, because if slash is there, anything is there, it will not work.
No, now slash is not there.
Can you share your screen?
Yes. Here I have removed the product slash.
No, only remove the slash, not the product. If you look at my code, I didn't remove the product. I remove only slash. Plus, yes.
Not for me.
Can you debug the code? Can you show me the app setting API address? So make sure this address is also right.
This address.
This port number.
Yes. I copied this port number. 44325. 44325.
No, now check it.
Starts 404. Region field not found.
It means, can you show me the base address? Here in line number 40, what is the line number here? 42,
And
43.
42. Yes.
What base address you are getting? Client dot base address, what you are getting?
Client dot base address. Localhost 44325.
Can you directly access first your API from the API gateway?
No, API is not working.
Can you write here / product? If you will get the data here, there also will get.
No.
That means your configuration is not correct. Show me the API gateway code.
Here is the local port. I've copied from.
Your API gateway port is not 44325. It is different. Can you open the ocelot.json? It is 44367. This port number should be there in app setting.json.
Here.
Make sure this port is correct for an API for Ocelot 1.
Yes.
I think it is also wrong. Can you open the Ocelot API, Ocelot project, API gateway project? Open
Yes.
the API gateway project, API gateway loan setting.json.
Yes.
Port number is 44325.
Yes.
So mention over there in global configuration port number 44325.
Where?
In line number 17, it should be 44325. I don't know why you are so much confused regarding the port number. API gateway port number come into the global configuration.
Just a
Your
minute.
web API port number should come inside the root.
Just a minute. API, this is the
API gateway.
gateway port number.
So this
And
should
port,
come in. This should come in global configuration.
this will come in global configuration.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for
The
web API should be web API 1. This is a web API 1. This should come inside there. Now it is correct. Santosh, do you have any query regarding the API gateway? Because you asked this thing to me.
This is also status code 404.
Can you check first your API gateway? Are you able to get the data from there?
Yes.
API gateway, not API. API gateway. Here, do mention / product. Can you continue your running project? Okay, now do check your app setting.json of web app. Web app setting.json. Port number is still not correct here. It is 44325.
It should be global port number.
Right. Santosh, do you have any query regarding the API gateway? Because this question came from your end.
I just missed the last 15 minutes. Actually, I have got a call from a client.
Okay, look at that video and do let me know tomorrow.
I just add the Oscillo. I just registered the Oscillo API and changed in the startup also.
Let's continue. Is it working fine now?
Yes. Thank you.
So do you have any query regarding the API gateway now?
Surendra, I am not getting any data.
Make sure your URL is correct, port number is correct, because everyone is doing the same mistake. Port number and URL. Can you share your screen?
Yeah.
First, show me your API gateway port. Oscillot.json. What is your API gateway port number? Open the loan setting of API gateway. Loan setting of API gateway.
This is 44320.
Hmm.
So that I am giving there. That is 44320.
Okay. Open the
This-
API gateway loan setting.
Yeah, this is 44328.
Okay.
So that I given here. This is 44328.
Remove anything.
Sorry?
Anything. In
So
line
here,
number 4, line number 12, we mention anything, remove it.
anything in slash.
Don't
Slash also.
mention slash. Don't mention slash. Also remove. Open your web app setting.json. Web app.
Yes, I am.
Sir, open the web app, not web API. Scroll down.
And here I was commented previous one. I
Hmm.
am given this API address.
Now run the code, it will work fine. Please restart your Visual Studio. It is not responding.
And it's taking time actually.
Now it will work fine because there are mistake was of anything. That's it. What about others, guys? I hope everyone has completed and getting the output, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm getting. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we have done this one, it's fine.
Can I share my screen?
Hmm.
I'm getting this.
Hmm.
So this is my API port number, and this is my API gateway.
Okay. Can you open your web app? App setting.json. Okay. What create catalog controller? So what is the issue now?
Not getting the data.
You're trying to get in grid. We are calling the index method. Can you show me the index method? In web app catalog controller, there should be the index method, not the grid. Where is index? This one. Scroll down. Here need to change. Remove slash in line number 51. Now save. Saurabh, Siva, have we completed? I think Siva left. Now go to the catalog, cutting data. Hmm. So guys, here now from tomorrow, we will start about implementing the security. Like how we can use the ASP.NET Core identity to implement the security. That part we will cover over there. One more thing I want to tell you about the web API. The another important thing is if you're willing to create a documentation for your web API, how the documentation we can create? Just only start your web API, close everything. This is my web API, which I'm going to set as a startup project. If you will run this API, and if we look at the Swagger, where documentation has been generated, this is my swagger.json. If you will open it, so we having the product controller where status code is 200. Here also we having the status code as 200. So everywhere only one status code is coming if I'm looking at. But if you will see at your code level, we are returning the status code as 201 also. When it is at 500 also. So we are actually returning the multiple status code, but here we are getting only 200, 200 here, 200 here, 200 here. Only 200 we are getting. So this documentation is incomplete. This is not the complete documentation for our web API. So how we can complete this documentation so that the client will get understand, like if the action is not succeeded, what different status code it can return. So in that case, we need to improve the documentation part. So for that one, I need to include here a one more NuGet package. So just open your Visual Studio and there is a one NuGet package you need to install here. That NuGet package would be about annotation. So I'm just going to the browse option. In the browse option, just make a search for /buckle. /buckle ASP.NET Core. And with this one, this is the package we having. /buckle ASP.NET Core annotation. So this package need to copy and put it. Now install it. Package name I shared through the chat window. Please install it. Now open your product controller. But before the product controller, open the startup class. In a startup class, let me enable the annotation as well. So here we having this line c.enable annotation. This I'm ending it. So this way I added the annotation for my API. So wherever we having the add Swagger gen, there make sure we have enabled the annotation as well. Code I shared through the chat window. You can copy from there and use it. Now for the documentation, especially for the add one, I'm just using here produce response type. What response type it can return? Status codes dot 201. This is the status code. It can return the status code as 500 internet server error, and we can define the method name also, Swagger operation. In Swagger operation, I can add the missing namespace and summary about the method. So it will add new product, add operation ID as well. Operation ID is here, and product. So now I'm completing my documentation for my API by adding these attributes. So make sure these attributes you added to the add product. So to add product, these attributes need to add. Attributes are shared through the chat window. Now run the code and see the difference in the generated documentation for your web API. Open the swagger.json. Only for one method I did the change. So you can see this is my post request, and now I'm getting here 201 and 500 also. It is coming perfectly now for the post request over here. So now this is the complete documentation for my API. So this is the way you should use the swashbuckle annotation to improve your API documentation, so that whenever you will share this documentation with your client, he will understand which type of response we might expect from the API. So please do complete this one and do let me know, are you getting the same response or not?
Do we
do we need to add it for each action? We cannot do something globally like the internal server error and the normal codes, which will be common in all the actions.
No, it cannot be possible because each action is returning different result set.
Yes, but the
Whatever
state
the
500
common,
internal server error will be the same, right?
madam, it's not a common error page. It is an error about each particular action. So that's why I need to define each action label. All the action will not return the 500 internal server error. So it's about a particular action return type, not about for your entire application error handling. That is a different concept which you're asking. If it is a global application handling, that is fine. You can have it globally, but it's not a global application handling. It is about a particular action exception. So it should be only at action label. What other things can be common? By default, Swagger was generating for us. But if you need more detail, more customization, you define only at action label. Anything else?
Here we have mentioned the status 201 to 501 internal. In the code, the status code is not generated.
Sorry, if you're looking at, I added the code which I'm returning. I'm returning here. I added here. I'm returning here. I added here. If I'm not returning, I will not add. These are the things we added here. But here at the get product, we don't have anything, so I don't need to add anything over there. So based upon your return type of your action, you need to define it. If you're not returning anything, then don't define. Is it clear now?
Those code we have here declared, this code will be generated the status.
Right. I'm telling to my documentation, my API will return 201 status code. If it is succeeded, my API will return 500 is internal server error if it is failed. If you're returning anything else also, you need to mention that one also.
Another question is from my side. If you will authenticate the API, then how will do it?
Authentication part I will cover tomorrow. Security authentication we discuss in tomorrow's session. Anything else? Guys, have you got it? How to mention this produce response type? It cannot be same for each action. It would be different for each action. So depending upon your action return type, it would be decided. So if you're looking at the another action, here we having the OK. So it is will be 200, it is 500. And if you're looking for the update, it would be bad request, OK, and 500. Here it is returning 3 status code, 400, 200, and 500. So you have to mention 400, 200, or 500. If your action returning 4 status code, just to mention 4. Is it clear? Can you confirm from your end? So guys, for today's session, I have done from my side. If you have any query, any doubt, please do ask. So today's session was very important from the perspective of API management, and upcoming 2 session also very important from the perspective of security and best practices.
Two sessions.
Upcoming 2 session.
Tomorrow is Friday and then on Saturday.
Monday.
Monday. So the assessment will also be on Monday.
Assessment I will give you tomorrow.
Okay. Will we also see how to host a MVC core application in IIS?
Have you checked the TOC course content? Have you checked?
Yes, I have seen that.
And course content is mentioned, and what date is mentioned, I will cover that day. It is mentioned on Monday, last day. So last day I will show the hosting.
Okay. Thank you.
Some following the TOC, please look at the TOC, what I mentioned over there. As per that, I'm executing the plan. So tomorrow we talk about the security, then we talk about the pipeline, then we talk about the hosting. Anything else you're expecting from my end outside the syllabus? Please tell me frankly. If anything is expected outside the content I shared with you, then do let me know. If it is possible, I will cover.
Hello.
Hmm.
Actually, my expectation, I already told you, it's a concept like how to use the procedure in the entity framework and how to store the data in multiple tables. And while using the procedure, how to pass the parameters, all those things actually.
Sir,
in the
procedure
week.
1 I already covered. Are you the part of the entity framework or training? I
Yes.
mentioned there how we can call the procedure, how can pass the parameter.
No, I think every day I was attended. When on which step you have covered this one?
Even I can share my screen, the code which we wrote, it is the part of the same thing, I'm sure. So let me.
Friday I was attended, Monday, Tuesday I was attended. From Tuesday, Monday was holiday.
Same thing I'm showing. The procedure 1 already covered. Anything else from any other person's side?
And one thing also I told you to cover like how to store the master and detail data. Master and detail data.
That thing I will tell you, not an issue. That part is missing. I'm saying that isn't that I didn't cover. But procedure 1 I already covered. So if you're looking at here, so this is not the part day 5.
No, I think it is not covered, I think. Because I have attended all the classes.
No, I remember it. I covered. That's what I'm saying.
You can ask to participants also.
Which one? Procedure?
How to use procedure in entity.
No, we
framework.
haven't.
We have not covered this one.
Okay, not an issue. Tomorrow I will tell you if this part is missing, because I thought I covered it.
No, it is not covered because I have attended all the classes. That's why I'm saying.
Not
all the classes
anything
are
else.
free.
I thought I covered that. So I'm thought.
So in procedure, how to use the procedure and how to pass the parameter to the procedure.
Don't worry, that I already having in that same sample. I will cover.
Okay. And how to store the master and detail data. That's what actually I have expected from this training.
Anything else? Okay, guys, if you don't have anything, that's fine.